Okay, so a quick word about filters. If you're an application developer and you just want to use command line utilities in your program, and there will be user input at some point, as we've seen, if our principle there's always user input somewhere, your first choice might be to include a filter to write a blacklist of what's not allowed to be used. I have a small code snippet here, you don't have to understand it in full detail, but it just uses a blacklist, so it bans those characters here. The space, the semicolon, the pipe, and the end. And if one of these characters is used within the user input, it just doesn't execute the subcommand. Now, is this safe? Well, no. What if we would use this username, for example? Oops, I see I forgot the backticks here. It's supposed to have backticks. So in order to avoid the semicolon, we can use backticks. Backticks is like dollar and then brackets. That just means that everything within here that will be executed as a command, and then the output of this command will be appended to the command line here. So this will be executed. And in order to avoid a space, we can use the magic variable IFS, which is the internal field separator. That's the variable that tells the shell what kind of fields, so what kind of characters separate the different fields. So the first element here, we slice the IFS variable, we take the first character, and the first element within IFS is a space. So what this reads in the end is cut space etc password and then redirect to a file. So this code will be executed. We didn't need to use a space or back or any other kind of banned characters. And that's supposed to tell you one of the very basic lessons that IT security teaches you. A whitelist is always more powerful than a blacklist. When you have a blacklist of characters that are banned, very often there are some sort of filter evasion tactics, filter evasion things that you can still execute code but not use the characters that are being banned. So a whitelist is a list of things that are allowed, which you should do instead of blacklisting things. Not only when it comes to command injection, but in security in general. Whitelist is always a better idea than a blacklist. In the first questionnaire that I sent you, all told me that you have worked with shells before, so I didn't go so much into details about the shell. Just quick reminder how you can, for example, combine commands with an end. So you could write two commands like this. And then both are executed, but keep in mind the end, this is a logical end, is lazy. So if the first command fails for whatever reason, the second command is never executed. So, oops. Yeah, it's the logical OR, it's also lazy. It's a pipe symbol, so take the output of the first command and put it in the input of the second command. Here the dollar and the backticks we've seen. This just means execute whatever is in between them and then use the output of this execution as command line parameters. Semicolon just ends a command, and IFS is the internal field separator that tells the shell with what characters fields are separated. That means if you write a command like this, the shell will look into its IFS variable that usually contains only space and tab. What characters can be used to separate fields, and then it will see, okay, here's a space that's in the IFS variable, so these are different, ls and minus a are different fields. Here's a space again, so minus l, a and minus l are different fields. So it then can split up this input into the different fields, namely ls, minus a and minus l are all different fields.